Talking tactics with Alex Ashwood today. Try to get a lot of these sponsored, Alex. This one isn't sponsored. I've actually got the Ben Start hat on though, for a very good reason. EB Research, the little butterfly up in the top right-hand corner of my screen. Go to their Facebook page or their own page. It's actually EB Research Awareness Week this week from the 25th of October through to the 31st of October. It's a great cause. These guys own a little horse, Alex. I don't know if you've seen it, called Tough Tilly, and they invited me into their Zoom party for the homegrown final. She didn't get the chockies. It would have been awesome if she had it, because I tell you what, you nearly thought that they did. But they're a great bunch of guys. They're just trying to raise awareness for EB Research. It's an insidious disease that affects young children. So please get behind that. If you're watching this on Facebook, just type in EB Research Oz, and you will find them there in the Facebook, and just have a little read up on it, and you'll get a better understanding of what these guys are about. And that's what Craig Judd is behind it as well, which is terrific. And Harness Racing do a great job of raising awareness for a lot of these things, don't they, Alex?
Yeah, they sure do. And Ben Stud puts a lot of money into the sport as well. And they do a great job for the industry. And they got a nice horse in Tough Millie.
Pity she can't win. That's the only problem for the poor buggers. But she does a great job, and she just keeps knocking it out. A little bit like you, mate, at Mildura on Saturday night. I was going to say Friday night. I probably stick to Glorytown a little bit too much sometimes with these talking tactics. I try to get it out there a little bit differently, mate. But yourself and Kate Hargraves, a lot gets said. We'll get the elephant in the room out of the way, mate, straight away. A lot gets said. You guys are a partnership as far as training and driving. You're no longer in a romantic partnership, but you're still sticking well and truly together as a team, and doing some bloody good things, I must say, around the countryside, knocking up winners here, there and everywhere, mate. Yeah,
it's been quite good. Kate and I are quite civil, and the partnership are going great guns at the moment, so we set our differences aside, and the horses are going great guns, so it hasn't affected them so far, so we just don't keep on pressing forward.
You both do a great job too, though, of looking after your owners on social media as well, which I think is key. It's a new world. A lot of people don't like social media. A lot of people say, it's bad and all the rest, but it is key to be able to get selling your product in a cheap, affordable manner, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. So the world's changed dramatically over the last 10 years or so with social media, even since COVID. The way people are communicating, it's a lot different to where it was just word of mouth. Now it's, if you advertise yourself, you're more than likely to pick up clients. Absolutely.
And people now can watch them from anywhere, because they're not missing out, unfortunately, for everyone else. They can't get to the races like the rest of us to be able to see these races. So the only way they can actually see these things is to be on social media and catch up with all the excitement and the likes going forward. I just got to get rid of a little image there before, mate. I've got the races started. I've got the first one started. Anyway, this horse, she's been an absolute revelation. When did you guys purchase this little filly called Tay Tay?
We probably purchased this about 6 months ago off Ricky Hutch, and she had a little green trial up at Menangle, and she slipped a pretty quick quarter. I think it was 26.8 or 26.2 or something like that. I can't remember, but she got up the straight pretty impressively, and we had a fair few people looking to buy one, so we put a syndication together, especially Gary and Kim Collinson was a great driving force behind that. So, we end up buying her off Ricky Rauch and for good money, and she hasn't disappointed so far.
Absolutely not. This was a 2 and 3 year old race. It was keen early. Jackie Law and Andrew Voslick, they were pretty keen to get. It might not have been Andrew Voslick actually, but they were keen to get out in front and get rolling, weren't they?
Yeah, they were very eager and very keen. So it caught me off guard a bit, because I was quite happy to punch through at the start and expect them to walk and then just roll to the front. But I had to go to Plan B pretty quick and just drive with cover, and hopefully they come up for air, and they did, and took advantage of it.
This filly, like she's by rock and roll heaven, she seems at the minute, I don't want to moz you, but she just seemed to have all the racecraft. She seems to be able to settle at the right minute times, because this was pretty strong. They're still going pretty strong here. We're only going around the home turn with coming up with a lap to go, but they seem pretty strong at that stage. She's settled. You've made your mind up now that you better get going, and you're sort of 3 deep. She runs, and then she seems to settle again when you get past the winning post.
Yeah, at home she's actually a bit of a rev habit, if you couldn't believe it or not. Like at home, she's once you get up on a bit and get charging, so She wears a bit of a pulling gear at home, but race day she's pretty basic, just a little snaffle bit, and she just switches on and off. She's pretty much push button at this stage, so hopefully she doesn't rev up too much coming into the better races later in the month.
Horses can jump to the front sometimes and they can go to sleep. They can sit back in the field and follow horses. Young horse here, you're 10 metres in front, 15 metres in front going down the back straight, and it's only on small vision. If you're watching it on a computer, you'll be able to see. But you weren't really asking her. You say she revs up and everything like that. So tell whoever is here on the phone. But she definitely seems to she seems to keep her mind on the job and be able to race properly the whole race.
Yeah, she does. She's well mannered. She's been well educated, which is a big part. Like what Ricky does, he does a great job with his babies, and when they leave his joint, they're pretty well educated. So it's a credit to him. So it was just pretty much, I just had to get a race fit and just turn her off on the day in the best order.
What are the plans for her, mate, going forward?
Tossing and turning to go through the Breeders' Crown. Like, she's got the speed, but I don't think she's brave enough or tough enough to race against the better ones of Emma and Clayton's at this stage. Like, their bunch of fillies are pretty good. I think their fillies are probably near better than their colts, I think, this year.
Yep.
So it's just, to see how she pulls up this week and see how it works. If her work steps up, we might have a chuck at the stunts, but more than likely she'll just go for races at this stage and hopefully aim as a late 3-year-old for some of them feature races like the Tassie Oaks and races like that.
You don't mind travelling to Tassie either, being a little Tasmanian boy yourself. So, no, she was a good win. That was the first leg of your trifecta for the night. The second was a horse called Rising High. You might have had trouble getting that name at one stage. Falcon Saucer. Mildura, it's an easy place to drive, mate. You just put them to the front and lead and win. That's all Alex Ashwood ever seems to do. What were you thinking about here when this horse decided, just after release point, decided to go for a bit of a gallop?
I actually half had a mini stroke when it went off stride for 2 or 3 strides. I'm like, oh no, this horse has never done it when he's big bed bone, so I'm going to be stuck with it for the rest of my life. But all credit to him, he got down on his feet pretty quick, and he worked forward and got the money.
He did. Mildura it's an interesting track to drive at, and you've settled, I think, 5th here just early in the running line, and the speed backs off and you go to the front. The race before clearly showed it's not all about being the first horse on the pegs and jumping to the front, is it? There is a little bit more tactics and go about that at Mildura. Yeah,
it's like any track. You have to drive with tempo, but with them half-mile tracks, it does help being on the fence because it's a big advantage. Doesn't matter what horse you're driving. As long as you're on the fence, it's the shortest way home. But it's just a bit of common knowledge, I think. Like, you have to just go at the right time, just go by lead time. If it's quicker than average and you're back in the field, at some stage you can put your horse in the race, and 80% of the time it's the winning move. So I just drive the tempo up there. I don't go out with a set plan because, like you said, with that previous 3-year-old, anything can happen on them half-mile tracks, especially around them tight bends. So, it's just common knowledge and just common sense, really, how to drive the horses and how the race unfolds.
Do you reckon people get a little bit caught out? Mildura's tempo, I know once tracks started getting bigger, and like I don't drive anywhere near as much as you, but you used to go there and you'd think, oh, we're flying, and you read the semaphore board and you've run a 31 quarter. Like, the tempo, you say about the tempo compared to, say, Bendigo or Shepparton where you are today, do you think that throws a few people out when they're trying to learn their craft in Mildura?
It does, because the cattle up there are a lot different to the cattle of horses down here. So you know yourself, if you're driving a smaller horse that takes smaller steps to a big striding horse, naturally you feel like you're humming, but you're not. So I'm quite lucky, and Kate's quite lucky. We take nice horses up there, and actually they get over the ground quite good. So when we're feeling like we're going a 30, it's actually going a 30. So so it just depends on the cattle or horse you drive as well, I think.
Aaron Bain Racing Proprietary Limited, one of the owners of this horse, and you've got a great association with Aaron. You have had pre-COVID-19, and it's going to continue on post-COVID-19 as well, mate.
Yeah, I think so. He's actually a great bloke. He's very eager and very passionate about the game. So he's got a big syndicate together in Bottle Rock. I think there's over 200 something owners in it. So he's quite good for the sport in SA, and he's not scared to send his horses away. Like he's got horses in Tasmania with Banyol, horses in Victoria with myself, and then he's got a couple up in Queensland with Neris McMullen. So he likes to spread his horses around and try and get the best result for the owners.
I've got Bottle Rock's race showing now, just in case people are wondering who it is about, and we will talk about him very quickly, but he did just jump on the bunny and stride around. So your tactics are pretty simple. Rising High, is there major ambitions with him, or is he just going to be a keep go through the class sort of horse as well?
Actually, he'll be going back to Adelaide on Wednesday with Bottle Rock, actually. So he's done his job here. So I think he's going back to Aaron's for a spell, and then I think he's going to go up to Queensland because he's a bit of a rev head, and I think the mile racing up at Queensland is going to suit him better than down here, actually.
If it doesn't suit him, it'll set him off his head anyway, and he'll fit in really well. And you did the right thing by connections. You got him put out of the draw for him before he gets up there as well.
Just put the cherry on the
cake. Bottle Rock, son of Better Than Cheddar, mate, as I said, just jumped on the bunny, and you didn't even have to really carve out solid sections, just that 30 sections. You did run your third one in 28.8, but still only got home in 30.4. You just looked a nice enough regulation win.
Yeah. It was pretty simple, actually. It was just a sit and steer job. He's a nice horse. I think he's got a bit of a future, actually. So he's going back to Adelaide with Rising High, and I think he's having a bit of a spell. Then Aaron's going to jog him up and send him back. So
back to you.
Yeah, back to me. So he's a nice horse. I think he's got a bit of a future. He's no star, but he should get through his grades nice enough, I think.
Well done, Aaron, too. Getting 250 people invested into harness racing is enormous. I'm sure some people have probably already had shares in them, but there'll be a lot of first-timers, and hopefully we can get back to the races, mate, and be able to showcase how much fun harness racing is, and especially the South Australians ducking across to Mildura would have been a hell of a trip, wouldn't it, if especially after you get in the treble, mate?
Yeah, they would have been up and about. Even Aaron Baines, he's quite social too on his social networks, and just need to have a look how many people he's brought into the game and how many people view the videos. I think he was telling me last night there's over a couple of thousand views on Bottle Rock's video of winning. So the word gets around pretty quick, and he syndicates horses out for not overly big money, and they enjoy it and get a great result in return.
If you're watching this in South Australia and you want to get involved, either get in touch with Kate Hargraves and Alex Ashwood or Aaron Bain. You'll be able to find them all on Facebook, that's for sure. He did win quite nicely. He just strode away. It was a pretty easy night for you so far, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Didn't have to think too much, but it does help when you drive nice horses.
You're just hitting the line now. So I will say for the connections of Bottle Rock, I will stop it there. A couple of the others got the video going a bit longer, but if I don't, you'll miss the next race at Shepparton. That's for sure, mate. Hit the wrong button then. We're right. We're all good to go. First four races, you drove the quaddie, the early quaddie, mate. This one wasn't quite as simple, and it probably highlights your driving tactics, because a lot of people would look at it and say, oh, why are you interviewing Alex Ashwood? Most of those were in the market, jump on the bunny, lead, and it's pretty simple. This horse here, didn't he give you buggery this early part of the race? He looked like he wanted to bore up the track on you. It almost, well, it doesn't almost. It looks like Reece Nicholson's got his toes in underneath you there just prior to going into the first turn. He was a hard drive just to get him into that spot that always looked like it was going to be his.
Yeah, it was. I haven't driven the horse before, and before I jumped in the cart, they said that it's a quite difficult horse to drive. Like, you can't steer it, can't grab hold of its mouth. If you grab hold of it, it's going to choke itself down. Blah blah blah. So I'm like, I'm in a bit of a rude shock here. And I was even scratching my head. I'm like, why did I put my good card on it? So, they were quietly confident, actually. So, I haven't been watching it since COVID because I just haven't had time. So, apparently, in the regional racing up there, it actually hasn't been going too bad. So, it actually gave it a bit of a push before I went on the track. So, early, like, it was a bit difficult to get down behind the leader, but as soon as he got there, he did run about a little bit. He was on and off the bit and wanted to run in and out. So, but yeah, I just a typical Mach 3 with no mouth. So, you're just there to being a passenger. Really, you can't really do much about it.
Party with Mac is the horse we're talking about, and basically in that last 200 metres, you could actually see exactly what you said. You ran up Boris's backside twice, but then you drop about half a length back off him as well afterwards, don't you? Like, it sort of it's all or nothing with him.
Yeah, like I was just too scared that when I was behind the leader, sometimes you want to keep him up on the bit and keep him travelling, but how he was racing throughout the race, like he was on and off the bit, and like if I was a bit worried if I stoked him up at the 600 and gave him a good one, that he might have like just poleaxed Boris and run up the arse of him and hit his wheel and gallop. So yeah, like he seems like he was just driving a very green 2-year-old for the first time, more than anything. So yeah, it was a rough drive.
It said you're driving a 6-year-old mare. Then I'm going to tell you how many starts it's had 28 starts or 27 starts before the other night, and it is running around. You say about Boris, wild man, previously trained with David Aiken and the crew, but there was a fair plunge on this horse. I actually watched this race live, and there was a fair bit of support for Boris's horse. Always very hard man to get around, Boris, when the money's on.
Yeah, 100%. He does a great job with his horses up there. He's probably one of the better trainers up there. They always present quite well, and he always has his horses in tip-top shape, and they were quite fit. So I thought that horse was the one to beat. I watched its trial on the way up there, the Mildura, and actually trial quite impressive. So I thought if I could get behind Boris's back at the start and follow him, get on the fence, it's the shortest way home, and if the gaps happen, it's only half a chance. So it worked out perfect at the end.
Tipping Boris didn't say well done when you got past the line, though.
No, he said, thanks for giving me a headache.
He gives plenty of people a headache, including the stewards. No one will begrudge you for doing that. And I love the man. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
You had 5 drives for the night, mate. You're back to reality. I think it was 2 races later. Where's my mouse gone? It's here, but I can't remember. Rockford Cheese, which is a name that's the mouthful. What happened there, buddy?
She's a quarter moody horse. We thought I was new before we caught her, because a couple of times before, when she's in a bad mood, she just gallops at the start and doesn't want to race. She doesn't want to play the game. And actually, Geordie went out to catch her to get her ready for the races, and he called out, and actually 5 of us went down to catch her on the paddock, and we couldn't catch it. So we have to chase her down an alleyway and corner and catch it. And I'm like, we shouldn't be taking this thing. And so we loaded it up and took it to the Mildura, and it was just off its rocket. So, and then going out the track, it just tried to kick me out the car, and I'm like, this is going to be rough, because last time she's done that, she blew the start. I think it was at Horsham once before. Like, she was odds-on favourite, and she done exactly the same thing. So when she wants to play the game, she's more than handy, but when she doesn't, she's a bit of a handful.
It's actually a bit of an issue with some of the mares going around at the minute, especially springtime. It can be a very dangerous time for trainers and the likes. Mate, thank you. Driving Mildura, it is a little bit different. I think it's a unique track. I don't think a lot of people appreciate it. You hear a lot about Gloucester Park and how great a racing it is and Coliseum, but Mildura is pretty similar in a way, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. It's tight. It's action-packed. Like, if you give an inch, you give a mile. So, they race a lot tighter around Mildura than places like Bendigo and Melton. It's a lot nicer to drive at Bendigo and Melton, but yeah, it's a different feel, and people are quite eager to make you work to the front, and it's very competitive racing.
Do you enjoy it?
I enjoy it, but I don't enjoy the drive home.
Yep. One of the downsides, but you do enjoy that style of racing and the likes up there.
Yeah, I do. Like, starting off with Tassie, Tassie was a bit the same. You race tight and hard, and you shove and push. But the style down at Menangle, Melton and down here against the better drivers, it's a lot different to the style of racing up there.
Am I right in saying you don't seem to drive as assertive as probably what you were when you first got up there? You seem a little bit more calculated in the way you steer them around Mildura? Yeah,
I think, like you said earlier, like, it takes a while to learn the tempo, and when you first start out, you try and understand tempo of each track and understand the lead times and when to make the right moves and all that. It doesn't come straight away. It comes over time. More times you go around, you're going to get a better guide. So it's been quite good. I think over the last 3 or 4 years there, I've been driving the whole card up there and having good results. And now Kate and I'm taking Norse's horses up there. It's a lot easier to make easier decisions and know when to put the horses into the race.
Mate, thank you very much. What about the next set? Oh, no, it won't be up, so don't worry. I was going to say, what about the next at Shep? But by the time it'll be over by then. But well done to you, mate. Thank you very much for your time. Yourself and Kate, as I said, you're a credit to Harness Racing, what you guys are doing as far as promoting. Kate puts a lot of little arty photos, I suppose you could call them, on Instagrams and the like, but it's what I love. It's a different way of showcasing what harness racing is all about. They're a beautiful animal and we can have a lot of fun, and there's plenty of stories to always be told, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%. Kate does a great job with a little videos and photos, the owners just showing off the horses' personalities and their little quirks. So she tries and not try and sell as a money making machine, but try and tells them like it's a pet and we love them just as much as they love the horse as well. So she loves the characters and the little quirkiness about the horses. So she does a great job.
Absolutely, and I better give a big shout out to Gary and Kim. I don't see them anymore at the race. I'm tipping Gary's still wearing those shocking T-shirts that he has, but well done to them. They're still very powerful on social media as well, mate, and you've got to buy him some shirts for Christmas, something a little bit less, I don't know, doomsday, I suppose, is the right way of putting it.
I'm not worried about his shirts. I'm actually more worried about his jeans. His jeans are actually terrible compared to his shirts, so I think he probably needs a new outfit altogether, I think.
We'll just guarantee Gaz is going to watch it right to the end because he's known we're both picked on him, so he'll be fine. Mate, thank you very much. As I said, this is brought to you by EB Research Foundation. Get onto the Facebook page and Google it, and if you want to donate, please donate to it, but if not, just make yourself aware of what it is. Ben Studd have got a closest affiliation with it as well. It's been Talking Tactics with Alex Ashwood. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Paulie. Thanks for having me.